Okay, as you can tell, I am not back in school today, but I will be back tomorrow. And I'm going to grade your notes from the last 5 days, Tuesday through Monday. If you are absent on any one of those days, make sure you get a copy of the notes from the sub and watch the appropriate video to fill in the notes. They're going to be worth a total of 25 points, so make sure you bring them all to class on Tuesday. Also on the same line, last Wednesday and Thursday, looking at the folders that have the handouts, there are still quite a few handouts still in the folder. So if you did not get a worksheet handout for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, make sure you see the sub to pick one up so that you can get them done because they're a part of an upcoming homework quiz. In class today, you're going to get your homework quiz back from last week. You may retake the quiz on Friday in class. There's some information on Schoology about that. Later in the video, the homeworks covered on that will be listed. If you are missing one, contact me through email with the name of the worksheet, and I will have a copy to you by Wednesday at the latest, if not sooner. Also on Friday is going to be our second homework quiz. It'll cover the 5 worksheets you had from September 11th to today, September 17th. So make sure you have all 5. Again, if you did not get one because of absence, or it appears that on Wednesday and Thursday a lot of folks did not get one, make sure you get one from the sub today. It's your responsibility. All right, today we're going to see how we can prove lines are parallel. Remember, previously we had said if 2 lines are parallel, then certain sorts of angles were going to be congruent or supplementary. Today what we're going to do is to look at statements that are the converse of the statements that we had, I believe it was last Wednesday. Now a converse is just taking an if-then statement and turning it around. For example, if it is raining, then it is wet, would be an if-then statement. If we turn it around, if it is wet, then it is raining. Still an if-then statement, but that one doesn't have to be true because it could be wet from other reasons besides rain. So a converse, we switch the original if and then about, and we get a new statement that may or may not be true. So here the converse of the corresponding angle theorem. If 2 lines in a transversal form corresponding angles that are congruent, and the lines are parallel. Please make sure you copy that theorem onto your paper. So this is the opposite of what we had last Wednesday. Last Wednesday we had parallel lines, and that meant the corresponding angles were congruent. Here we have corresponding angles that are congruent. That tells us the lines have to be parallel. So it's a way we can prove 2 lines are parallel. So if we have 2 corresponding angles congruent, like in this picture, angle 2 and angle 6 are corresponding angles that are congruent. If they're congruent, then we can make this statement that line L is parallel to line M. So if we have the congruent corresponding angles, a logical conclusion from that would be that the lines have to be parallel. Our next statement, the converse of the alternate interior angles theorem. Again, it's taking the alternate interior angles theorem and turning it around. Here, if we have 2 lines, we have to have a transversal. So those are 2 things that we need, and we also need alternate interior angles that are congruent. If we have those conditions, then the lines are going to be parallel. It's just like in the southeast, they had certain conditions, and because of those conditions, Florence changed from a Category 4 hurricane to a tropical storm. So in this picture, if we have alternate interior angles like angle 4 and angle 6, and we're told they're congruent, then again, that means the 2 lines are going to be parallel. So this is a second way to show that 2 lines are parallel. Look at alternate interior angles. If they're congruent, the lines are parallel. The first way was corresponding angles. Next up, the converse of the same side interior. Make sure you copy the theorem onto your paper. If two lines in a transversal form same side interior angles that are supplementary, then the lines are parallel. So in this case, angle 3 and 5 will not be equal. But if we take the measure of angle 3 and we take the measure of angle 6, and they add to make 180 degrees. That's what supplementary means. If those two angles on the same side of the interior, same side of the transversal but in the interior, if they are supplementary, then the two lines must be parallel. So if angle 3 was 80 and angle 6 was 100, they would be parallel. If angle 3 was 80 and angle 6 was 90, they would not be parallel. And the final one, the converse of the alternate exterior angle theorem. Again, we need two lines in a transversal, and in this case, if alternate exterior angles are congruent, if angle 1 is congruent to angle 7, then that's enough for us to say the two lines are going to be parallel to each other. So we have 4 ways to show two lines are parallel. 3 of the ways involve congruence of angles, whether corresponding alternate exterior or alternate exterior. And the last way, same side interior. Okay, as promised, here's the list of the 6 worksheets that were covered on the first homework quiz and will also be covered on the retake of that homework quiz. On Schoology, it tells you who needs to retake it and who has an option to retake it. I believe the score was 16. Under 16, you had to retake the whole thing. Over 16, you can retake just a particular question. All the questions I'll be using will be different than the ones I previously used, so you need to make sure you fill out your worksheets. So these are the 6 worksheets involved. If you are missing any one of them, send me an email through Schoology. Excuse me. And I will have a copy made for you. You should have one. Back to today's lesson. Which lines are parallel or segments support our answer? Well, looking at the figure on the left, we have these two angles are congruent. They're both in the top right of those intersections, where EG is a line that intersects 2 other lines. So EG is our transversal. So the 2 other lines must be BE and CG. And they're going to be parallel because of the converse of the corresponding angles. Because the corresponding angles are congruent, those lines have to be parallel. On the next one, we have this angle at K and this angle at M. They're both in the lower left of those intersection places. In this case, JM would be the line that intersects the 2 other ones. And the 2 other lines would be KR and MT. So segment KR is parallel to segment MT. Notice on segment we do not put the arrows at either end. And again, this one is the converse of corresponding angles. If the corresponding angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. On this one, what value does X have to be to make the lines parallel? In this case, these 2 angles are alternate interior. So if the 2 lines are to be parallel, the 2 angles have to be congruent to each other. So 95 has to equal 2x minus 5. Add 5 to both sides. 100 equals 2x. Divide by 2, x is 50. And so when x is 50, the two lines are parallel. X equals 50 implies that angle L is parallel to angle M. If x is any other value, the two lines will not be parallel to each other. So again, make sure you have all 5 of those worksheets associated with the video notes for the past 5 days. They're going to be used on the second homework quiz this Friday. That's September 21st. Also, if you go to bit.ly.com/WCMathXL, you can find some extra credit problems. Each assignment that you score 75% or higher on will earn you 2 extra credit points. A perfect 100% on any assignment will earn you 3. So you can earn as many as 15 extra credit points, since there are 5 assignments, or 10 just by simply getting 75% or better on each one of them. Each one of them, you'll notice their titles. They say extra credit in a title. They're open until the 21st of September at midnight. They're currently open and available for you. So when you have downtime, this is a chance for you to earn back points that you've lost. Somebody that scored maybe 8 out of 25 on the homework quiz. If you do all 10 of these, all 5 of these, you get 2 points apiece. You earn 10 extra credit. So that would bump that score up to actually being an 18 out of 25. So going from a 32% all the way up to a 72% if that extra credit is done. So you can have that as opposed to even retaking the homework quiz. But taking the homework quiz and then also having the extra credit is definitely to your benefit. So I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you have all those notes so I can grade them. Have a great evening and enjoy the day.